Hello, 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 everybody. I think now everything should be playing properly. You'll have to let me know, viewers, how the audio's going here. I'm trying to make sure that everything is working properly. I think it should be. But if it gets a little funky, let me know. So, hi, everyone. Ethan here, back again with, I played a little earlier this afternoon. I kind of wanted to get back into some more solo RPG play. So, here I have Apothecaria by old Anna Blackwell. I have a physical copy. You can find this on itch.io. That is itch.io. Great website for finding indie games. Now, real quick, I'm just going to turn down my audio a little bit because I'm having a hard time hearing myself. But I'm sure the rest of you can hear me just fine. So, what is this game about for those who are coming to the stream session late? And Ethan, what am I looking at here? Well, first off, I'm going to adjust these here. Haha, there we go. I want you to be able to see what's happening here in my journal, which is mainly the important thing here. So, we are playing a solo RPG, a journaling RPG, in which, kind of like with, essentially Studio Ghibli films, we, particularly Kiki's Delivery Service, are a young witch come to replace a master witch of sorts in their village and help out the town. So the whole point of the game is week by week we will be visited by a villager, monster, adventurer who is caught with an ailment. We have to diagnose them and then look for magical reagents that are found in a couple of locales outside of the town of High Rannoch. And then we go explore, collect those reagents, and brew a potion or some type of magic to help treat their ailment, ideally with quickness, so we can gain reputation as well as payment, and continue to better ourselves. And actually, now that I am thinking about it, okay, so actually, real quick here, just checking something for when we start, because this is something I might have forgotten. We start with 5 reputation points. Don't we start with 50 money? Am I crazy? I just want to make sure that I'm not cheating here. I know. Let me see here. Some garden plots. Foraging value 8 or lower. Well, what the freaking heck? Well, this is kind of important. So we have a garden plot. I mean, it's good that we didn't immediately work on that, but there are upgrades you can do to your magical house. You have a familiar that helps you out, and essentially you draw from a deck of cards that help you randomly generate some events depending on where you are, and you help out the people of the town and become the new witch and possibly discover what happened to the person who was previously in charge. So, and earlier today we were visited by a adventurer, Arnold the Swift, who is cursed with photothropy, which essentially means he, like a werewolf, turns into a were-hamster and then violently chews at a whole bunch of stuff. He caught this trying to protect some people, but I had to go into the dungeon of Heroes Hollow with my familiar, my dragon familiar, Imrit, a emerald wyvern, who is able to become big temporarily to transport me very quickly across locales and without losing time. So within Heroes Hollow, we met Garglenack, a troll merchant who we bartered with a little bit. Then we unfortunately fell into a dungeon. Previously, Heroes Hollow was a dungeon controlled by an evil necromancer who was raising an undead army. But unfortunately, well, fortunately for the rest of the world, seems to have either disappeared or been smited by some hero or the like. But we did find one of our ingredients, ghost goo, and then wandering out of the dungeon, we found a very terrified and covered in skeleton dust squire, Tilbury, who was looking for his mistress, Lady Irwin, who apparently got into a giant, horrible fight with a squadron of goblins. Tilbury ran away, and we are not sure what happened to Lady Irwin, but we escorted Tilbury out of the dungeon and then ran back in time from Hyranic to our manor to treat Sir Arnold's phototherapy by producing the Chipped Monk Potion, or Chipped Monk Elixir, by boiling the ghost goo, mixing it with a mortar and pestle into frothy skeleton dust paste, allowing it to settle with the magic words Alvis Simis Theodorus. And from there, Sir Arnold drank half the potion and was set to, or prescribed rather, to drink the other half of the potion on the next full moon, and thus curing his phototherapy. So then Emirates and I settled down for a nice pot of Darjeeling, and that was event number 1. But that is all good there. I am going to really quick here check the upgrades, and I also want to make sure that I read this correctly of what we are starting with potion-wise. Expiration. Special locales, the village, downtime. Festivals. There are events that can happen in the village. Did I lose my mind? I might have lost my mind. Do we not gain any silver to start with? Supposedly not. Doesn't seem very efficient of a witch, but there you go. Just checking here. Could have sworn we started with 50. Suppose I was wrong. Okay. Well. That is okay. Not bad at all. Okay. So, we certainly don't have 60 silver. We have 30. Because we managed to get 10 from Tilbury for escorting him out of Heroes. Pardon me, just wanted to make sure it wasn't totally as bright. That's still pretty bright. I don't love it. That's good. It's a little bright on my glasses, but, you know, as long as the rest of you are feeling okay. So, I'm also going to button up my cardigan. Why not? I'm getting nice and cozy with all this. But essentially... Oh, and I am not going to catch my mic. That would be a bad... Wouldn't recommend that. So, we escorted Tilbury out of Heroes Hollow, and then we received 20 silver for a successful job well done on our potion. I'm going to actually put this light back on. However... make it nice and yellow. There we are. Okay. Alright, so 30 silver. We are a novice with 6 reputation points. Once we reach... how many reputation points is it? Once we reach the next level for being an intermediate witch in town, we will gain different levels of respect, which come with different levels of pay, and we can take on harder ailments. Once we reach 11 points, we can gain an extra reputation point per case by building a potion that specifically focuses on the ailments of whatever is brought to us, but so far, not so lucky. And that's fine. It just means we only get 1 point instead of 2 potential ones. But we did gain all of our silver. Now, what is the silver used for, you might ask? There are lots of upgrades that we can use for tools, which allow us to extract certain magical reagents from the environment. We can also find ones in the environments. And there are upgrades we can have just to our cottage. These are honestly pretty expensive, so I will not be worried about those right now. I will, however, for a foraging value of 8 or lower, we can actually build something with our garden plot. It has to be a plant reagent, so excuse me briefly as I take a look here. Surgeon sap could be pretty cool. Just reading. So the garden plot grows any one plant of foraging value 8 or lower. So essentially, it just means we permanently have access to one reagent, which is useful. It is very useful. Still looking here. Ooh, one specifically just for mood, you say. That's kind of nice. Coffee cap is also fun. Okay, now onto the lock. Gasweed. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Okay. A deep reed, always very fun. That covers quite a bit, though. Smooth croak. Mermaid's gift. Ooh. We thought about getting some Mermaid's gift last time, actually, while we were trying to treat people. Also, hi, Makai, welcome. I know it's very bright right now on the screen. My apologies. Here, let me put on dark mode for everybody. Little easier to take in, I hope. So, in case you haven't seen yet, essentially, I am playing a solo RPG, Apothecaria by Anna Blackwell, where we are a little witch who comes to town to treat ailments of the villagers, travelers, and magical monsters that surround the fancy Studio Ghibli-esque Scottish fairyland town of Hyrannic. So, but I am currently browsing my book really quick to find a magical plant that we can put in our garden that we can always have access to. So I want to try and make it somewhat useful. It has to be of a value of 8 or lower, which may not make a lot of sense, but in the book it is quite nice to have. So welcome. Ooh, jumpkins could be fun. I do like jumpkins. Jumping pumpkins, baby. I think I actually chose jumpkins the last time I played this game, so maybe I shouldn't. But they're just fun. Ooh, that is very spicy. Hiker's help. Okay. Could go for Hiker's Helper. It's not a bad idea. Hiker's Helper sounds like what they talked about in Peru with coca leaves, which is technically how you get cocaine. I chewed some myself, and it was pretty refreshing. It was the same thing as, like, gum or, typical caffeine from tea or coffee. Also, you would need to chew, like, literally, what is it, like 1,000 pounds worth of coca leaves to get like the effects of 1 gram of cocaine. I think I chewed about like 60 leaves, and each one is probably the size of one of the lantern flies that we see around here in the Pittsburgh area. For those who know what I'm talking about, if you know, you know. Unfortunately. Skullcap covers poison and pain. Those are 2 elements that are important. A flood bulb. See, I'm looking for something that gives me options that ideally isn't 2 things together, because that could just be a lot, honestly. Alright, so I see Skullcap. Skullcap is looking like a winner. Jumpkin, also looking pretty good. Stomach and cold versus poison and pain. I mean, I do like that as well. There are some that are just really funny, like a goat's echo. Like, this game is adorable. Hiker's Helper is only for pain. So, if that's going to be the case, Skullcap would be better. Looking for something that's useful here, you know what I mean? Like, you might as well try to go for the good stuff. Mermaid's Gift adds poison, which I don't want. Gasweed is only a single thing. I want to try to be, you know, somewhat meaningful with my choice here. There's lots of plants in the grove, so that does help. Wound and Burn is great. For Surgeon Sap, because you also get a point of sweetness. That adds a point of sweet. Crushed and then boiled for senses. You know, I'm gonna go with Coffee Cap. For those who've been around for my Deadly Premonition playthroughs, I'm sure by now you know in the audience that I am a huge caffeine addict, and therefore quite the fan of coffee. So, going to check here. Upgrades. So this would be considered a garden plot. Making sure I write this down correctly. Garden plot. Of foraging value 8 or lower. Okay. Yeah, that's only a 4. That'll be fine. Because technically I could bend and break the rules. The game says whatever makes you feel happy. But don't cheat is ideally the goal. And I don't want to cheat, so there we go. Anyway, okay. Upgrades. 1. Garden plot. 4. Coffee cap. Which is +1 sweet, and it said crush and boil for mood. Oh no, not for mood, sorry, for senses, and this is a single one, so actually sense is 1, songberries is also 1. Okay. See, that's where it gets a little, because, I mean, 1-star ingredients is totally fine for now, but eventually those won't be as useful, you know what I mean? Jumpkins are 3. Man. You know what? No, I'm gonna go with Jumpkin. I like adding sweet, because it means I'm gonna get more money, but Jumpkin it gives me more to choose from and work with for specific things, and it's just a better quality ingredient. And also, like, having pumpkins outside your cute cottage, which can scare away kids and stuff and vandals, that's kind of awesome. So, yeah, Jumpkin from the Moonbreaker Mountain locale. That is, let's see here, boil. So the boil for stomach 3, or crush for cold 3. And this is a 8 value. So I'm actually going to put that over here. So that means I will always have access to Jumpkins. I don't have to go looking for them. I can just have the reagent available. So that's awesome. Big fan. And I'll read out the description here for the audience. A mischievous species of pumpkin that some fairies planted in the foothills. Get too close to them, and they lunge forward for a little jump scare. Good for gut health, though. The rest can be carved into a nice decoration to scare your neighbors. But otherwise, the flesh can be boiled for stomach, or seeds crushed for cold. So, that is enough prep. I cannot buy anything right now with our current silver, so let's move on to ailment number 2. I'm going to start a brand new page. All right, ailment number 2. So how this works is I flip in my book to, there is a table of potential ailments that novices can handle. As I get more, as I increase in reputation, eventually I can take on more intense ailments and treat those accordingly. But for now, I'm just the new guy, so, you know, people aren't going to trust me with truly lethal things, which makes sense. So, how we do this is with a draw from a deck of cards. So I'm going to do this here on this screen. Okay, the 5 of diamonds, so I'm going to write that down. Just want to make sure I did this exactly like I did for the other. Okay. So that would be a 5, which is Yeti-Chests. That's awesome. Okay, so that is hair 1 and lungs 1. So, the afflicted's chest hair grows longer and thicker until it becomes a fur-like coating. They also speak with a much lower voice for some reason, but it's good in winter though. So, okay. Yeti-Chest. Well, that's a little unfortunate here. Alright, and then I will use the diamond to dictate who is going to be our patient. Okay, so diamond, patient number 2 is diamond. Diamond, actually, funny enough, is, if I'm remembering correctly, an adventurer. So, our good friend Squire Tilbury lost his mistress, Lady Irwin, who ran away to scrap with some goblins and then never went to go looking for her cowardly little squire. So guess who walks into our home the next day? Lady Irwin. Yes. Let me double check. Sorry for that I keep scrolling so much. I just want to make sure. Okay, awesome. So we're going to say adventurer, Lady Irwin. The next day, Emrit and I wake to the horrid pounding of a fist on our cottage's creaky wooden door. Behind it stands the bloodied and furious gauntleted fists of mighty Lady Irwin, the former retainer of the cowardly Squire Tilbury. Apparently, after defeating an entire battalion of goblins, Irwin chased the final scout up into the Moonbreaker mountain range. Unfortunately, before she could land the final blow on the escaped goblin, a roving pack of wild Yetis viciously attacked the woman, throwing her off the cliffside. Crawling back from what would spell certain doom for normal persons, as she called us, Irwin returned to High Rennick, only to discover she had caught a unsightly case of Yeti-Chests. Thanks to the recommendation of her kindly squire, Irwin now demands that we treat her this instant. Ugh. Knights. Okay, so we have our story. So now I need to look for ingredients, or reagents, as they're called in the book, what treat hair and the lungs. So, let me see here. There are a couple of things here what treat hair. Lungs, though, are a little harder. So if I can find something specifically just for lungs, that would be great. Okay, gasweed from the lock. Is there anything for Mermaid's Gift is also findable at the lock. I think we're going to Meltwater Lock. That sounds awesome. Okay, cool. Very, very cool. And what's even better about that is these ingredients are just usable for these things. The poison's not quite as great, but we would get better reputation. If we have some extra time to kill, then I think we could afford to maybe go hunting for some moon rock, which could add some sweetness. So we will see. Luckily, though, there are some ailments that have a timer. This one does not. So we have the full 13 turns to do this. Okay, so let me write down just checking the reagents here. Reagent options. Okay. Reagent options number 2. I already know what I want. Gasweed. So that is a plant at lock 3. So that is -1 in summer. Very easy to find in summer. +8 in winter. Much harder to find in winter. Not impossible, but still. And then it is crushed for lungs, 1 star, perfect. And And then Mermaid's Gift, let's see here, is also a plant at lock 5. And then it is boiled for hair 2. It does add 1 point of poison. Now, what poison does, for those who don't remember from the previous session, poison will detract from the amount of money we end up getting for our potion. There are ways to counteract it, though, by adding sweetness. So, the best ways to do so would be, I know one of these would be Candy Rock from Moonbreaker Mountain. That is a pricey reagent, to be fair. Also, when we... Oh boy, I want to check something, because I'm pretty sure when we go to a different locale, we will have a... we'll have to restart our foraging number. I want to make sure that is true. Could be a little past this. Exploration. Okay. Oh! Okay. That's awesome. So we actually do not reset our foraging value. Cool. Okay, great. So, if that's going to be the case, then maybe that's an option. There are easier ones to find. Oh, but actually, these... Yeah. So these add, oh boy. Yeah, so I think Candy Rock from the mountain is the only thing that's going to be just adding points of sweetness and not adding any extra stuff. Okay. Candy Rock it is, baby. Candy Rock.
Going to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Oh my god. I don't want to go with you frickin' people to Candy Mountain. No.
So this is a bit of magic. Mountain 9. So adds 4 points of sweet. Okay, well, that's how we're gonna have to settle off. All right, we're sallying off, pardon me, to help out Lady Irwin. Okay, so and normally, an important thing to remember, folks, when you go between locales, the timer decreases by, the timer decreases by 1. So you only have a certain amount of time that you really should put this potion together in order to treat a person. And if you wait out past that time, even if it's not lethal, they'll go away because you seem inconsiderate and your reputation will go down. So I can't just tool around forever, even though I don't really love this Lady Irwin chick. So, if that's going to be the case, so to first melt water lock, we go, then Moonbreaker Mountain. So this is going to signal to me where we are heading. Awesome. Then, is there a way to extend this, like, at all? No? Just, whatever. Okay, cool. So, now, making sure I set the timer in the foraging track. Okay. That's going to, there we are. Timer. 0 out of 13, and foraging track set at 0. That will go up with time. So now, first, we get to go to Meltwater Lock. And now we draw another card, and this is going to dictate the event, what happens. Depending on how high it is, we will potentially find a reagent. So we need to draw, for Gasweed, we need to draw a card with a value of 3 or higher. For Mermaid's Gift, we need to draw an event of 5 or higher. And some things are about to happen, folks. So, here we go. 3 of diamonds. Okay, so we did manage to find Gasweed, not Mermaid's Gift. So, card number 1. 3 diamonds. I'll read this out. Crystal clear waters surrounded by secretive sandy beaches. Alright, I don't need somebody singing on top of me, thanks. Alright, let's try that again, shall we? Crystal clear waters surrounded by secretive sandy beaches, tucked between the rocky outcrops. Several picturesque islands break the surface of the water while vibrant marine life teems below. Not all is idyllic, however, as the loch is home to a fair share of sunken ships and a great beast known as Bazbata. So, number 3. A flock of surprisingly cunning gull drakes take turns distracting you, while the rest of the winged beasts steal your reagents. Thankfully, you scare them off before they take everything. Choose one reagent to keep and discard the rest. If you have no reagents, they bother you for fun. Oh, great. I'm just attacked by a bunch of stupid pelicans. Awesome. Alright. After our initial landing at Meltwater's famed lock, it becomes unfortunately apparent that the crunching beneath my boots is not of pebbles, but of rock, what were they called? But of gull drake nests. Luckily with no eggs, but still. The old birds seemed quite offended that I decimated a portion of their summer homes upon entry to the loch. Luckily, Hemrit managed to frighten off most of the avian enemies with a harmless belch of whatever spicy meal he consumed the night prior. Oh, lucky us. We managed to find Gasweed right at the water's edge. What luck. Just making sure I found out how to write this here. Yep. Alright, so then I write Gasweed acquired. Alright, which means the timer track goes up 1, and then we only increase the foraging track if we fail, I believe. Just want to make sure I read that right. Uh-huh. Got it. Yep, so we don't increase the foraging track element. One second here, guys. Perfect. Alright. Just had to put on some non-singy music, because you're here to listen to me talk, not some lady with a pretty voice, nonetheless, but still. Alright. So now we need a 5 or higher to find Mermaid's Gift. So let's see. 6 of hearts, baby. There we go. We are killing it today. Card number 2. 6 of hearts. So, I'll read this out. You hear a blood-curdling bark echo across the loch, a sure sign that a Q-Sith is on the hunt. Legends say you must find a safe place before a third bark, or it'll get you. Where do you hide? Decrease the timer by 1. Well, that's unfortunate. So the timer doesn't just go up by 1, it goes up by 2, so it becomes 3 out of 13. Stumbling, actually, I'll say, finishing up the harvesting of gas from within the loch's notoriously hardy reeds. Imrit warns me the far off, but not far off enough cry of the famed Q-Sith. So what is a Q-Sith? I'm going to pull that up real quick here. Q-Sith is a mythical hound found in Irish folklore and Scottish folklore. It is spelled cutesy and also bears some resemblance to the Welsh Queen. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I don't speak Welsh, so. Has a shaggy dark green coat and being as large as a small cow. Hunting silently, but occasionally would let out 3 and only 3 terrifying barks which could be heard from miles, even far out at sea. Those who heard it must reach safety or become overcome with terror to the point of death. Oh boy. That's badass. Look at this thing. That is a wicked puppo. Alright. So, anyway. Cry of the famed Q-Sith. Let me see here. Checking in. Famed Q-Sith. The Highlands. Whether this is the last of the breed, but a pup of a far worse litter to handle later on. I'm not sticking around just yet to find out the answer. Find the answer out. Catching the long neck of transformed my transformed familiar, we manage to duck into a cove, only to find where the creature had enjoyed its most recent meal, morbidly sifting through the remains. We do morbidly find a couple of fistfuls of mermaid's hair. Perhaps with some washing in clean waters, the dried blood clumps will fade. Hey! We found Mermaid's gift! But at what cost? Now, do we stick around? You know, Nah. Nah, I think we're done. Which means we would move to Moonbreaker Mountain. Again, neither I nor the wyvern about my wrist wish to stay long enough to know. And so, we depart. So, normally, moving costs stuffing on the timer. Not so in this case. So, now we are rolling on the Moonbreaker events. And we are trying our best to locate Moonrock, which does take a little bit of time. So, better be worth it. Alright, here we go. A 7 of diamonds to start. Not high enough, but the foraging track goes up by 1, and the timer does as well. A 7. We're going to say card 3. Let me remove that there. 3 of diamonds. Or, no, what am I talking about? 7 of diamonds. I don't know why I said hearts. What the hell? Oh, the last one was hearts. Okay. 7 of diamonds. Also, I'll read the description for Moonbreaker Mountain. Jutting high above the clouds, it is said this mountain can touch the moon, even though few have ever brought back proof. Travelers come from far and wide to see the gull-drake nesting cliffs, grand caverns, and to walk the beautiful hiking paths dotted with shrines and runestones. So, number 7. As you pass through a small valley in the foothills, a sphinx leaps up onto a podium-like rock and proclaims you must answer their riddle if you wish to pass. What was the riddle? Every time you get this result, write about your relationship with the puzzling feline. Do you bond over riddles, or do they frustrate you? Oh, okay. How many people are in the chat right now? I need to check in. Make sure it's not just me talking to myself. Because I'm curious as to what y'all are thinking here. Should we create a little nemesis, or what? What are people thinking here? I don't think anyone's watching. But hey, I'm having fun, so then I might flip a coin. That'll just be the best way to go about it. Also, I need to, let's see here. Riddles. Yeah, give me some good ones here. Stop. Okay. What is the... Oh, well, these give me the answers. Okay. Riddles for adults without answers. Okay. Let's try these. Okay. A murderer is condemned to death. He has to choose between 3 rooms. The first is full of raging fires. The second, assassins with loaded guns. The third, lions who haven't eaten in years. Which room is the safest? Oh, God. I myself am not quite good at these. Apparently Carl feels very, very confident. I'm gonna say the third. feel like the lions would have eaten their own, and thus perhaps been too fat, having eaten as many as are possibly there. And then it would be a room full of dead or eaten lions. Hey! There you go. Hey! Alright, I'm gonna write that down. Wandering up the initial temple walk towards the ever further away peak of Moonbreaker Mountain, Imrit and I were again accosted, but this time by a creature carved out of what appeared to be moonstone itself. Ooh, okay. Let's see here. Ancient Egyptian names. Let me see here. Bastas. Should I just call it Bastet? Yeah. Bastet, I mean, goddess of cats. Or Bast. I mean, Bast in general. Oh, Bast is the same thing. Okay, cool. Well then, yeah, Bastet's a little more original, I guess. I'm pretending to myself. Bast. The Sphinx. And one of the guardians of the peak. When questioning whether I would be granted safe passage up the hill, or at least past the imposing entity, my familiar and I were given a riddle to answer. Ah, I should have written that down. Alright, hold on. Let me see what I put in here. Yeah, there you go. I'll type this out, just so I have it for later. On answering correctly, though, the animated sculpture allowed us finally to pass, though it seemed somewhat indignant that we did not serve as its would-be playthings. Lucky us. Alright, so we continue. A new card. Now we're looking for a 9 or higher. Hey! Lucky us today. Man, speaking of luck, card number 4, baby. 9 of diamonds. us in the sky with diamonds. From up on our vantage point, we spot a nice obvious reagent on a rocky outcrop. Draw a card and treat it as a reagent of the same value. Wow! Okay, so we get 2 reagents now. All right. So if that's going to be the case, we have to draw one more here. So that's extra draw reagent. So let's see here. 5 of hearts. 5 of hearts. So if that's going to be the case, I'm going to do it not from some other locale. It should be from here. So 5 or reagent of the same value. So it has to be the same value? I guess like if somebody died on their way up the mountain. I'm fine with it being lower. I would rather not cheat if I can help it. That. Oh man. I say that and then I'm instantly like, well, I can't technically collect that unless I have, you know, like a wand, which, you know, can't really do that. So I can't collect pixie fur. I can't collect a goat's echo, which is a hilarious ingredient. Lyra, hello, welcome. Nice to have you here. I am playing Apothecaria, a solo RPG in which I am a witch in a small Scottish town helping people with ailments. Earlier today, I helped the somewhat clumsy knight Sir Arnold with the condition of the curse of photothropy, which is like lycanthropy, except you turn into a hamster, like a were-gerbil, and then you just chew up everything and vandalize the town. So obviously, you know, I couldn't let that happen. So just as a refresher, I and my my dragon familiar Emrit, an emerald wyvern, we traveled to the dungeon of Heroes Hollow, and then we first met the troll salesman Garglenack and bartered a little bit with him to then proceed. Unfortunately, we fell into a hole, and inside the hole we stumbled into one of the dungeon cells of the former necromancer who ruled the dungeon, found some ghost goo, and then crawling up out of the hole, we found the cowardly and terribly lost Squire Tilbury, who was abandoned by his cruel mistress, Lady Irwin, who previously got in a fight with a horde of goblins. And then we managed to get Tilbury back to the town of High Rannoch, then back to our cottage to treat Sir Arnold. We created the elixir Chipped Monk by doing all of these steps here, including chanting the magic words Alvis Samus Theodorus. Yes, that's a reference to the 3 chipmunks. Anyway, then Sir Arnold was fine. The next day, we found ghost goo in a deep hole. Goddamn right we did. And speaking of which, I will be obtaining the book Penetrate the Veil later on, in which we are literally banging ghosts. It's unfortunately, I got it more for serious reasons, but it is a comedy book, and, you know, it kind of makes sense. Oh, I lost my loved one. It'd be kind of fun. So, anyway. So then, for... funny enough, at ailment number 2, Lady Irwin appeared, thanks to Tilbury recommending us as a good person. Turns out after she literally slaughtered an entire horde of goblins, she chased one up into Moonbreaker Mountain, and then was thrown off a cliffside by a band of roving Yetis and caught Yeti-Chests. She loves being hot and demands that I cure her Yeti-Chest. So far we have gone to Meltwater Lock, accidentally stepped on some gull drake nests. Luckily, we scared them away, found some gas weed. We could have been hunted by the famed Irish-Scottish cutesy, which is sort of like a demon dog of ancient lore. So we went into a cave where we found where it had recently eaten some mermaids, and we collected some mermaid hair. We could instantly make a potion, but yours truly wanted some moon rock to make a sweeter potion before we present that to Lady Irwin. So we solved a riddle presented by a sphinx named Bast, who seemed very upset that we were able to get it, and I was very proud of myself because I actually solved it without looking first. It's on camera. And now, finally, we have found some moon rock, but we also found an extra reagent. So, reagents are the ingredients we use to make our potions. So yes. And also, actually, for, not to dox anybody, my friend Lyra got a job in my home city, and I'm so proud of her, and I wanted to say it on camera, and soon she'll be here, and actually, I have a second copy of this. So if you'd like a second copy, you are more than welcome to it, because it's so fun. You just need this, and a deck of cards, and a journal. And if you're like me and crave attention, then a shitty Twitch channel. So, there you go. But anyway, really quick, just want to make sure I find something that is a value of 5 or lower. You know, I will take some nest scraps. You know what? That's fine. I will absolutely find that. Oh, what was the riddle? I have it here in my journal on the left. A murderer is condemned to death. He has to choose between 3 rooms, the first full of raging fires, the second full of assassins with loaded guns, the third with lions who haven't been fed in years. Which one is the safest room to go into? And I scrolled away so you couldn't cheat. What do you think it is? First full of raging fire, second full of assassins with loaded guns, the third full of lions that haven't eaten anything in years. I'm waiting for the answer. If you don't solve it, you get eaten by the Sphinx. I'm sorry. That's just it. What is the safest room of those 3 rooms? That is correct. The lions, because they starved. They hadn't eaten anything in years. So. But anyway, back to this real quick. I'm gonna say we found some nest scraps. So, scaling back up the hillside, looking for the famed pockets of Moonbreaker Mountains candy rock ore. I found it incredibly hard to walk any further. Pausing briefly to clear out my boot, I found none other but a fistful of gull drake nest scraps, no doubt caught during Imrit and my harrowing landing accident at Meltwater Lock. I had sticks in my boots, and I pulled them out. That's how I'm procuring these. Well, reagent is a reagent. And oh, look! Candy rock! Luckily for me, Imrit's teeth are as hard as a pickaxe. And even cleaner. So, then that means that one didn't make a space. That's weird. Whatever. I'm going to say nest scraps. which are a value of 4. -2 in spring, meaning they're easier to find in the spring, so it's actually a 2. So 4 minus 2 in spring equals 2. So that's okay. I'm okay with that. Candy rock acquired. Nest. That's what I'll do here. I'm gonna do this here, and then I'll delete the one above. Bonus. I love a good bonus. Who doesn't love a good bonus? Alright. Now, do we stick around, or do we go dick around the town? There are things we can do in the village. I don't like this Lady Irwin character, even though she is entirely a fictitious character that I've made up in my mind for this story's sake. A part of me wants to make her wait, but also, I guess it doesn't hurt for me to use the downtime I have after I've already produced the potion. So, yeah. Okay. Okay, no, that makes sense. Make the potion first, then use the rest of my downtime. Okay, cool. So. And with that, hopping aboard transformed Imrit's back, we ride quickly back to treat Lady Irwin's semi-indecent exposure. Alrighty. Now it's potion time. Whoa. Hello. There we are. Alright. Potion time. So, we have our ingredients, gasweed, and then Mermaid's Gift. I will read these ingredients out in their full description. Gasweed. Nope, it's still on Moonbreaker Mountain. There we go. A popular plant among diving enthusiasts, this bulbous seaweed is filled with oxygen-rich gas. It's very easy to find in the right season. Mermaid's Gift. A type of poisonous algae, this age-old cure for baldness is very effective if applied properly and prepared in such a way that its hair growth properties won't end up giving people furry tongues. So if that's going to be the case, we are going to... Alright. Potion time. We're going to call this... We're calling this Balding Breath. Alright, so, step 1. For the gasweed. Let's see here. This needs to be boiled. Start a roving boil utilizing the cauldron and sprinkle tied up bundles of Mermaid's Gift into the vessel the moment it appears as though it would boil over. Let's see here. Extract gasweed seeds and pulp. Discard shells. Crush seeds and pulp. utilizing the mortar and pestle, whilst the mermaid's breath should be settling further into the cauldron, producing many, many, many vapors. Once seeds and pulp have emulsified, scrape into the cauldron, which will evoke a small plume of heat. Cover patient's face with a damp towel and hang head over the cauldron. Inhale and exhale deeply for 15 minutes. Wait 1 hour and begin removing clumps of hair. Being careful not to touch hair the patient does not wish to remove. I'm just imagining that after you basically do this sort of like a vapor treatment, if you touch any hair, it'll just come right out. So you don't want to touch, you know, like the hair on your head per se, but if you have like hair on your arm, you just wipe your hand over and it all falls right out. Nice and clean. It's the perfect, simple solution to having to shave your legs in a medieval fantasy setting. All right, and with that, make sure I read that right there. All right, awesome. Ooh, wait, actually, hold on. Yes, okay. I gotta write down those ingredients here. So first is the gas weed. So that is lungs 1. And next is mermaids. Oh, I forgot to apply the moon rock. I'm gonna do that. 1 second. So that's going to be hair 2 plus 1 poison. Crush seeds and pulp. Alongside candy rock. Candy rock. Plus 4 sweet. All right. Ailment cleared. And that means that only took us... That should be 5. Yep. 5 out of 13. And then our reputation goes up, I believe. Yep. Rewards. Now, here's where I wanted to make sure to add that candy rock. So, when it comes to making potions, this is what our previous master wizard witch explained to us. Normally, completing a potion nets you 20 silver, but there are a couple of things that can affect its value. Each point of poison reduces that reward by 4 silver. Each point of sweet increases the reward by 4 silver. So, poison and sweetness will counteract one another, so 1 point of poison removes 1 point of sweet from the 4 we have added. So we have 3 other points, which means we have 4, 8, 12, on top of the 20 silver we would already normally get. So we're getting 32 silver from this. And +2 reputation points, actually. Because this is another important thing. Make sure I read this out right here. Yeah, I know, that's all wonderful and very awesome and cool and whatever. Alright. While there is no ill effect to healing tags that a patient doesn't have, because each reagent treats specific things. 1 second BRB, fire department's blocking the house. Oh no, that's not good. Be very careful. But as I was saying, if you can heal all of a patient's tags and nothing more, which is what we did we needed to treat let's see here. Yep. Yeti-Chest is hair and lungs. We cheated. We treated specifically hair and lungs, and with some points of sweet. So we actually get 2 reputation points. +1 for good potion making. And now I'll type up a little finisher story here. It was not unrewarding. Back, everything is fine. They moved. Excellent. So as I was saying, if you can get magical reagents that treat specifically only the tags required of an affliction that a patient is suffering, you get an extra reputation point at the end. So we gain 32 silver and 2 reputation points instead of just 1. In the previous one, we only got 1 reputation point because we ended up treating a lot more than was necessary. Spirit, curse, teeth, bones, and hair for Sir Arnold. However, all we would have needed was 1 thing of curse and 1 thing of hair. There just wasn't ingredients we could feasibly find in that short of time that would treat only those things. So, a little bit of fun there. It was not unrewarding to make the supercilious Irwin wait any longer than I could allow my conscience could afford. It was also incredibly fulfilling to then push her haughty head into my cauldron and cover it up for a handful of precious minutes whilst I looked knowingly towards her poor, abused squire, Tilbury. The young Rube, however, did not seem so willing to relish in my acts of tyranny against his mistress. Still, by the time the treatment had completed, I proudly provided a little comb for Irwin to painlessly scrape away whatever hair she wished to show, and the many, I assume, that she did not. Hello, Bean. But with that, another supposedly happy customer. Alright, let me add those results up here. Spring. Alright, so now we are at 8 reputation points, and we have 62 silver. It is still the second week. I need to copy the balding breath. Because I get to keep these potions. I'm writing them down in my own little book of potions that I can look back to for later, in case these things ever appear. I'm gonna say great for Yeti's chest. Alright, do I have any extra ingredients? I ought to make a little category just for that. It's very fun. It doesn't require much, but it's a pleasant time. I shouldn't say ingredients, that's not what we call them. Reagents, baby! And normally, per week, you're not allowed and encouraged by the game to take on more than one patient at a time, because in the book's words, the people of town will literally never let you be alone for anything. So, one person a week. And there are 13 weeks per season. At the end of each season, something might happen that leads you down the mystery. Not to mention, there are festivals you can go to, and other little events, so that's fun. Ooh, I also ought to add, Bast. Sphinx of Moonbreaker Mountain. Currently, the Ku Sith has not been identified, so they are not going to be added to the NPC list for now. So that's fine. Jumpkins. I have a little garden for Jumpkins, so I have to make sure I write that down. These are things that I have spares of currently. That's why I'm doing this. I also have obtained, I know it's here, nest scraps. There we go. Probably should have written that down a little bit better. I will in a second. That's what we're here for. Nest scraps. I'm also going to put this here. What kind of witch am I? I didn't really write a character description. I might do that at some point. I just know that I am a young person who has come to the town of Hyranok to replace the old one who mysteriously disappeared. I drew cards rather for my familiar, and I got very lucky with a mythical one, which could be a dragon, a griffin, or a sphinx actually, I think. And then you draw a card as well for your familiar's ability. There are different ones. You get to choose what form it takes. I just drew a card because I thought it was fun. But the ability, you have to draw a card from. You can't choose it for yourself. And I got one that lets me transport myself between locales without decreasing the time I have left. Which means that basically I could be wasting a shit ton of time. In fact, I wouldn't have been able to achieve the last potion if I didn't have my transport ability. I wouldn't have been able to feasibly pull it off. I would have had to leave Tilbury in the dungeon. Yeah, so the transport one is coming clutch. I might at some point later, but for now I need to write down nest scraps. And then let's see here, nest scraps. I know they were just here. Hello? Oh, wait, no, it's on the mountain. Yes, okay. So, let's see here. Moonbreak Mountain locale. This is 4. And then, crush for, that is cold, or boil for hot, and both of these are 1. I do like these ones because, you know, these don't go bad. I can keep them preserved, so little bit of fun. I'm just gonna separate that down by an extra one. So far, so good. We have a garden plot. We could afford to buy a new tool if we really wanted. So there are upgrades you can get for your cottage and for your tools. The tools help you extract other magical reagents. Some upgrades let you specifically just check out different locales, which have very rare and otherwise inaccessible things, not to mention other events. The sickle increases foraging points by 2 instead of by 1, so we find things quicker, which is always nice. The coracle is the next accessible one, which allows us to navigate the bog. That's a different region. Let's see here. Ooh, a hive! A hive lets us add 1 point of sweetness to 4 potions per season with honey. That's pretty nice. I will think about it. For now, I don't think I'm like in super need of anything. I know that let me see what I can buy from the village here. Ooh. So I can hire an adventurer to accompany me from the tavern. They cost 10 silver, but I can use them to negate 1 event of my choosing. Oh, that's fun. The Lunar Tower. I can attune my equipment. I draw a card and I gain foraging points equal to half its value. I can decrease my time by 1 when I go to the village. And then I visit the services below. Wait a minute. At any point during an ailment, I can decrease it. Oh, so I could use the Lunar Tower to just gain foraging points instead of having to fail events and gain them. So that's fun. Bits and bobs, decrease the timer by 1 to have a friendly shopkeep, check their reagent collection, draw 3 cards from their current stock, and choose 3 reagents equal to their value. If I want any of them, pay 2 silver times their highest forage value. Okay. Ritual Circle, decrease timer by 1. Sacrifice reagents of a low value to create one of higher value. Ooh! Can only use it once per ailment. So, food for thought. Downtime. During all of these, each of these decrease the timer by 1. I can forage while in downtime. Each event decreases the timer by 1. And there are still some that delay the timer again. Spend time with a character is something to do. It doesn't give me reagents, but I can just have characterization. During ailments without a timer, I can explore at my leisure, but don't take more than 13 turns. Each ailment in downtime counts as a week. Do any more than that. Okay. I have some time between these to explore. Visit the village or spend time with characters I've met. Make a timer with 6 segments. Each action decreases the timer by 1. Okay. Okay. So technically downtime counts in between the ailment stuff. So really I could have hunted for things a little bit, which maybe I'll do now. But it does seem just sort of fun to get into it, you know? A little bit. Okay. So the end of each of these is this. Okay, so that's fun. So the festival that will come at the end of the spring season is the Flower Festival. After that is the Sunrise Celebration, then Boggles Night, and then Frostfall Festival. Very fun. Oh boy. This is all very cool. I have a little bit of time to get to town. I'll allow myself to go to the village. That'll be fun. Okay. Okay. Pardon me. just this game makes me a little sleepy because it's just like I'm just having fun. This is a fun time. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. Can't really. There's not really a point in going to the ritual circle. So. All right. Make a timer with 6 segments. Okay, I'll do that. I won't do the full. Technically speaking, I could have done a lot more, but I'll say making the potion cost probably 1 point. I relaxed for another point, so bringing it up to 8. Yeah, that's 6 is fine. All right. Downtime. Number 1. Carousing in High Rannoch. I did mean carousing. Thank you. I did not mean that. Rannoch. I know how to spell High Rannoch. Thank you. Alright, let's draw some cards. We have a timer. 0 out of 6. Alright. Let's take a look. The 2 of Hearts. Oh my god. Please. 2 of Hearts. A rumor is going around town. What is it? Is there any truth to it? The Sleepy Hollow. For the first non-rushed time since moving in. My divining ears managed to catch quite more than a few words to match the yokel's stares. Some have alleged that I slaughtered the former tenant of my unassuming cottage home. Of course, it's untrue. Rarely has an apprentice witch ever so much as nicked a master sage as this one supposedly was. But still, I'd best be on my best behavior to not rouse any future mobs. So there we are. Something to think about for the future. That's 1. Card number 2. And these are just little fun things that help flesh out my version of the village. You know what I mean? So, Queen of Hearts. Okay. Another witch is visiting the town and invites me out to lunch. What is their name? What do they talk about? How do you get on? What is their familiar? Okay. Okay. Freaking female names. I do like the name Faye. Alright. And you know what? I'm also going to draw a card for Faye's familiar. Just for fun. A 7. According to the familiar chart, 7 is a feline. All right. Let's say a wandering about. I already said wandering. Standing in one of the stuffy, dust-choked scroll shops, specifically built in town to handle the former Master Witch, I find my pant leg suddenly accosted by a wild tomcat. Confused, I offer the beast a pet, but before my hand reaches his whiskered face, a baroque accent fires back to me. Hey, my mistress wishes to commune with ya. Ballbag. Human. After blinking once, twice, thrice, I nod, and both I and a very suspicious Imrit follow the familiar back out to the lane to meet with a woman garbed in all black, caked in stick and poke tattoos of languages long forgotten, and jewelry of sun-chewed animal bones that maggots have not finished yet picking clean. The Wiccan's name is Faye, and she is a sharp-tongued but bemused competitor from a few glens over. Originally, she was to be my former master's replacement, but the upper councils had gone with myself in the end. A wild card. At first, some villagers ran, expecting a mystical fight to shatter the town to cinders. So did I, frankly. But in the end, Faye's alluring smile only offered to buy us some stew and pints in an act of contrition, friendship, and no harm, no foul. What a lovely lunch. And now I have a very intense, mind me, intelligent colleague to call upon when the occasion strikes. I'm going to, let's see here. Need to add her to the NPC list. Which, from a few glens over, once thought to replace my missing master. Wild cat Cool. Very fun. See, it's little things like this that just add a little bit of flavor. I could have made it bad. I could have made an enemy if I really wanted to write an enemy, but I was like, I want her to be like scary, but then be like, nah, we cool, and then just be like, hey, and little fist bumps and stuff. You know, it's a fun game. It's not like, this is not a game that has combat. I would have to introduce a whole other system for that kind of thing. And it's like maybe a later on thing, you know? Look, I'm not playing 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. I could be, and I talked about it earlier today. Maybe later, but for now, we're just making friends. That's all. All right, next card. I'll do one more for the evening. I think that'll be fair. All right, here we go. Also, Michael is playing Starfield. Who wants to play Todd Howard's piece of crap game? Am I right, boys? Ethan's entire audience goes away. And also, fair. All right. Final card for the session. Jack of Spades. I visit the Lunar Tower, the great moon tracking device. I've managed to time it just right to get the best magical power from it. While inside, bathed in the light coming through the stained mage glass, I have the chance to attune my equipment. The next time I go foraging, start with 6 foraging points. That is useful. All right. Following my nightly meet with the delightfully deluded witch Faye, Imrit and I take one final outing to the forgotten but still potently useful Lunar Tower of High Rannoch. After silent prayer and some ancient incantations. There you go. Your boy is Crystal Bish now. Hey! Felt my connection finally breach with Rannoch's natural wellspring arcana, which in turn served to better reach out, which in turn served to recharge my mysticism for the coming the next coming days. Whenever another person, whenever another patient finally arrives, I'll be more ready than ever. Bonus on the next outing. Whoop. Man, I really can't spell outing, huh? And with that, I think that is a lovely place to close for session 2 for now. Been at this for almost 2 hours. A little around what we were doing earlier today. So another patient arrived. Motherfucker. But yeah, this is Apothecaria. Anna Blackwell. I think I might be the only person on Twitch who's really playing this game, because they don't like to do these solo RPGs. I'm sure I say that, and then if you just search in Twitch, there's got to be like there should be lots and lots of people playing this game. It's very, very fun. Support the original writer. Go buy a copy. It's like there's a lot of creative imagination that can just grow out of these prompts. It can develop into a beautiful little world. Yeah, please, by all means, go take a look. But thank you guys very much for joining. It's been a lovely time. I wanted to experiment a little bit, get away from video games, and I've been meaning to play some board games. That was a big point of my life, and particularly because of Sarah. She encouraged me to get a lot of games, try a lot of games. I still have some getting delivered to my parents, and it is fucking heart-wrenching that I can't really play them with her, but I still got to keep playing. I still got a life of games to enjoy, and the solo RPGs for many years were a part of that. Ironforged, Ironsworn, Starforged, Apothecaria, Thousand-Year-Old Vampire. I know there's literally a good jillion out there. I unfortunately haven't steeped myself as much in that world in a hot minute. The Mythic system. If you're a fan of D&D 5th edition, Mythic, and there's a gajillion other GM-less ways of essentially rolling out how you play a game, but solo. Ginny D, a famous D&D YouTuber, and streamer, I believe, as well as cosplayer. She did a great episode on just how to sort of get into that. I highly encourage people, if you're having trouble finding a party that you click with, or if you're like me, you kind of got out of the game recently, or more you just want to play sometimes on your own time, whenever that urge kind of comes up, there are ways to do it on your own. So feel free to take a look into that. I always encourage people to give it a try. This is a very, very light version of that. Journaling games, I'm personally a big fan of. They make me feel still like I'm the writer. I pretend that I've still maintained to be. I used to be a writer. Actually, a little pride point I'll say here on stream. For the first time honestly, for the first time since 2020, when I met Sarah, I started to write plays again. It's true. I only got to page 6, but I started, and it's coming along. Sometimes you can get back into what you love. We come away from things for a long, long time, but that doesn't mean those go away forever. I was reading through one of my own journals from all the way back in 2018. I have poetry in there. And it's a little heartbreaking to think about those times and those memories. Even before I met Sarah, when I was in a really hard, terrible place in my life, but it got so much better than I could ever imagine, and really that's in a lot of part because of a lot of you. So thank you for giving me continued hope and encouragement to keep trying, and likewise I hope I can give that back to the rest of you. If you have not written in forever, if you haven't drawn anything, if you haven't painted anything, if you haven't picked up a guitar, played on the keyboard, made a movie, dicked around with stand-up, whatever your thing is, even if you dabble in it, even if it's just for fun, even if it's just for you, even if you're crappy at it, knitting, gardening, home brewing, what you do makes you you. And I really hope that even if you take years off, like I did, doesn't mean you're going to be away from it forever. So, food for thought. Didn't mean to get a little too preachy, but I'm just really in a good mood, and I appreciate you all keeping me there. So, for now, I'm gonna depart, but y'all have a lovely rest of your Friday, and I will maybe be around for a little more streaming later this weekend. All right, have a good one, y'all.